gentlemen, please join me in welcoming State Representative Candidate. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming State Representative Candidate Tom Murray, your candidate for Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest, and Minnesota's own former Governor Tim Pawlenty.
Perfect postcard, this would make of America. It's a high school prom, it's a Springsteen song, it's a ride in a Chevrolet.
How's everybody doing out there tonight? Is it warm enough for you? If you think it's hot now, wait till Election Day when the Democrats are really sweating. I want you to join me in welcoming some very great candidates that we have right here in Wake County. Chad Barefoot's running for the North Carolina Senate. Chad, wave to the crowd. We also have George Holding. He's going to take back Congress seat District 13. George. There's George. We also have Senator Neil Hunt, who's running for re-election.
Back here in the back.
We have Chris Malone, who's running for the North Carolina House. We have Dan Nagel and Charles Gilliam, who are both running for District Court Judge, but not against each other. We have David Robinson, he's running for the Court of Appeals. And we also have Dale Cook, he's running for Wake County Commissioner. And they gave me this job because they knew if I left somebody out, you wouldn't be mad at me. So if I left anybody else out, please holler, and I'll recognize you. Any other candidates? I didn't see Justice Newby, but...
Up front.
Excellent. John Odoms, he is on the Raleigh City Council. Lord willing, he's not on the ballot on even number years. But he's here, and we're glad he's here. Join me in welcoming our Lieutenant Governor candidate, Dan Forest, who's going to say some, introduce the governor.
Well, thank y'all. It was a great day. Thank y'all for sweating it out here and waiting on the bus to arrive. I just want to say, first of all, it is a great honor to be able to represent you as your Lieutenant Governor nominee on the Republican ticket in 2012. So thank you for your support.
Run, Forest, run!
I also want to say thank you to all the hard work and effort that you guys put into this every day. If it wasn't for you, we would not be here doing this today. If it wasn't for the work that you do in the victory centers like this center here, making calls and going out and walking door to door, we don't have a chance for victory in 2012. I believe that this is our generation's 1776. I believe we are truly at a tipping point in America. And in 100 days, 10 hours, and about 52 minutes, 100 days, 10 hours, and about 52 minutes, we make that greatest decision of our lifetime. Who is going to be the next president of the United States? You have a very clear choice. You have a very clear choice. Are we going to save the great American experiment? Or are we going to tip over into socialism or worse? We need your help. We need your help to make that happen. And so we want to say, this is the time. If you have ever reached out to a neighbor before, if you've ever reached out to a coworker before, or a family member before, this is the time to do it. This is the time to reach out and pull as many people in as you can. This is the time to go to that victory center here or in downtown Raleigh and pour in as many hours as you can to help the Republican Party, to help Mitt Romney to victory, to help Pat McCrory to victory, to help us in all the down ballot races for council of state. We have a great leadership crisis in America. A great leadership crisis in America. Now is our time to take America back. So you were probably watching the Olympics ceremonies last night. You saw Mitt Romney on TV. He was over there celebrating the Olympics, the opening of the Olympics. You remember in 2002, he helped save the Olympics. He's a businessman. He brings a business-minded approach to government. That's what we need right now, a business-minded approach to government. We also need great leaders like our next speaker, Governor Tim Pawlenty, who while he was governor of Minnesota, he was able to balance the budget without raising taxes. He fought back as a leader in Minnesota, fought against Obamacare, said no to the national government against Obamacare. That's the kind of leadership we need in Washington. Please help me welcome Governor Tim Pawlenty.
Thanks a lot. I sure appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming out on a hot Saturday afternoon. I got a couple questions for you. North Carolina, have you had enough of crushing levels of unemployment in our country? Yeah. North Carolina, have you had enough of runaway federal government spending? Yeah. North Carolina, have you had enough of this president trying to decimate our United States military with $1 trillion proposed budget? Yeah. North Carolina, have you had enough of Barack Obama? Yeah. Are you ready for a new and better president, Mitt Romney? Yeah. I'm glad to be back in North Carolina. I'm glad to be back in this state that is so pivotal in a battleground state for who's going to be the next president of the United States of America. We got some work to do. Thank you for your willingness to pitch in and help Mitt Romney. Here's what we're fighting for. In North Carolina and all across America, we need to give people real hope and real change and real opportunity and keep America's values and the American dream alive by restoring America's common sense. And if you go across this state, you go across the country, and you ask people, what are your hopes, what are your dreams, what matters most to you? People will talk about their faith, they'll talk about their family, and then they'll talk about their hopes and dreams, including their hopes that they can take care of their family, get their kids to college and pay for it, pay for their health care and their mortgage, and otherwise take care of their responsibilities in life. And for most Americans, the main way they're going to do that is to have access to a job, and hopefully a good paying job. We need to grow this economy and quit kicking our entrepreneurs and our small business leaders like President Obama does in the shins every day. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing his teleprompter speeches and no results. You know, his big fancy speeches from 4 years ago and since, those speeches, those words, they don't put gas in our cars, do they? And his teleprompter speeches don't pay the mortgage, do they? And President Obama's teleprompter speeches don't pay our health insurance premiums, do they? And they don't get our loved ones or our friends or our neighbors a job in a country, do they? We got a problem because we got a president who's all foam and no beer. And the answer for how do we grow jobs in this state and this country does not come from politicians in Washington, D.C. Most of them have never spent much of their time in the private sector. The answer to that question comes from the hardworking men and women who are the inventors and the innovators and the dreamers and the designers and the risk takers and the hard workers all across this country. And we got about 6 million businesses in our country. About 5.9 million of them have 500 employees or fewer. And if you go ask the people who started and grow those businesses and the people working there every day, what's the barrier to growing more jobs? You know what they say? They say, look, you know, they all say about the same thing. They say it a little differently. Some say, look, the taxes are too high and they're too burdensome. Some say, look, the regulations are too heavy and too slow and too complex. Others say that Obamacare is going to be too expensive and it's going to hurt my ability to grow jobs. And others say, look, you know, the energy prices need to come down and we need more American energy. But if you listen to all of it, the theme is the same. You know what it is? They're saying, they're pleading, they're yelling, they're asking the president to listen, but he doesn't hear or he doesn't care. What they're saying is, get the government off my back. Governor Romney understands how to get this economy moving, how to get jobs growing in this country, and it's not about statistics, but here's a few that you should remember. We've had over 40 months of 8% or higher unemployment in America. That needs to change, doesn't it? We've had the lowest rate of business formation in the United States of America in 30 years under the Obama presidency. That needs to change, doesn't it? We've had 23 and have 23 million Americans, 23 million of our fellow citizens, our neighbors, our friends, the people that we know and love are unemployed, underemployed, can't find a job, have given up looking for work. That needs to change, doesn't it? Mitt Romney's going to come forward and say, look, I'm going to get this economy moving. He's called for reducing business taxes, reducing individual taxes, lightening up on the regulations to form jobs and get investment in companies growing again, repealing Obamacare by ripping it out by the roots and getting a better plan. And he'll approve the Keystone Pipeline and get more American energy. Make sure that the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. don't have a heavy hand and respect the need to get the economy moving and jobs growing. I want to close with just one story for you. I grew up in a meatpacking town. Where I grew up, the biggest employers were these large meatpacking plants back in the 1960s and early 70s. You know, and my dad, for much of his life, was a truck driver. My mom, for much of her life, was a homemaker. And those big meatpacking plants shut down in the late 60s and early 70s. My mom died when I was in 10th grade. And not long after that, my dad lost his job for a little while. And so as a young person, I saw in a real close-up fashion what it means to be uncertain about your economic future. What it means for families and neighborhoods and communities to be facing the prospect of not many jobs. What that means to families and what it means to people's sense of confidence and hope and their dreams for the future. We know what made America great. We know that we're a great nation, not just because we're a big country, it's because we're a free country. And when government pushes into our lives to such a degree that it pushes out what was reserved for families, what was reserved for neighborhoods, what was reserved for community and philanthropy and charity, and importantly, private enterprise and free markets to such a point where people are so discouraged that one of their biggest worries is the burden and threat from government. You know that we're off track. You know that we're off track. And so each of us who understand that, who know that, need to rise up and say, President Obama, you've had your chance. You're out of ideas. You're out of time. And now you should be out of office. Mitt Romney's going to get this country back on track. I hope between now and November in this very important state that you'll do all you can to get him elected. He'll bring forward an agenda that focuses on free enterprise, getting the economy moving again, and giving people jobs and real hope and real change. North Carolina needs it. America needs it. It won't happen unless we all do everything we can to make it happen come November. I know it's a weekend, it's a Saturday, and you could be doing a lot of different things with your day. You chose to come here to say that this cause of getting Mitt Romney elected president is worth your time and your energy and your talents. He deeply appreciates it. His whole team appreciates it. Together, we're a team. We can get this country moving again. Just as Ronald Reagan personified it, just as Lincoln stood up to defend it, we now have to make sure that we do everything we can to restore and protect and advance the cause of the great United States of America. Thank you so very much for coming out today. Please do everything you can to get Mitt Romney elected President of the United States. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.